Do you want your voice heard? Send an email to thomas@chargeshot.com. Leave a question, a compliment, or even a correction. That is thomas@chargeshot.com. We hope to hear you soon, and we hope to read your email on our podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Charge Shot Gamescast. Each and every week, best friends gather around and talk about the news in gaming. Justin's not here with this week. This is his first podcast he's missing.
I wonder where he is.
Yeah, same here.
I wonder if it has anything to do with a certain console releasing this week. It rhymes with glitch.
And a certain game rhyming with Mesmerelda.
Oh yeah, well, Justin is the Nintendo fan guy, right?
Yeah.
Does this mean we don't have to talk about the Switch the whole time?
This means we have fewer topics on the Switch this time. Because there are a couple of cool things that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
No, instead, today we have with us Lo.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
I didn't put in the resident PC gamer. I feel disappointed in myself.
Oh. We can do it again if you like.
Yeah, serious.
And then today we have with us Ray.
Hey guys, what's up?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And we have a special guest with us today. He goes by Geo Hero on Twitch and Twitter. It's Rick.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
So Rick, tell us a little bit about yourself here.
So I've been gaming since I can remember. I also currently have a daytime job, which doesn't allow me to stream much. Wish it did, because I wish I had more time for video games.
That's kind of like the thing about the adult life, is that you have less time for video games, more time for work.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I remember when I used to play Final Fantasy VII, I beat that thing in 2 weeks. Now I can't even do it in a month.
Adulting is rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, one story I do have about myself is that, which is a topic I wanted to bring up today, is that in the middle of video games, you know, I did acquire epilepsy because of video games, so I wasn't able to game for a few years, but I'm back, and hopefully we can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, you know what? We're at it right now. Might as well just jump in. You want to talk about the gaming and epilepsy?
Sure. So, back in the days, it wasn't very mentioned much, while gaming, but I'm pretty sure you guys see it now where, you turn on your console, it tells you read all the safety and hazards, stuff like that. So part of what you'll read in there is about photosensitivity, which talks about, you know, epilepsy, see your doctor if you experience certain symptoms. Well, see, it was weird because back in the day, there was a lot of warnings, in family, because we had a friend that was a doctor, and she mentioned it. She mentioned it about having some kind of attack. And I asked everybody, you know, what's a seizure? And everybody would tell me, well, it's a heart attack. I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's just avoid all the cholesterol stuff. So I was actually conscious about not eating greasy stuff when I was very young, you know, a little kid.
Weird. That's not what an epilepsy is, though, right? It's not a heart attack, is it?
No, it's not at all, you know, but, you know, when the time came that I actually had a seizure, well, that it was totally off from what everybody was telling me. So around, let's see, it was in 1986 where I had it was actually the release date of Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, you know, I bought that game on day one. I was playing it for hours, and then I felt this sense of dizziness per se, or maybe you could call it if you feel lightheaded, for example. So immediately I was already a very nervous kid. I was always afraid of diseases and stuff.
Yeah.
So immediately I started to scramble all over the place. So like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? You know, I live with my grandma. I went to my grandma's like, grandmother, I feel really dizzy. I don't know what's going on. It's like, well, maybe because you haven't eaten. And I was very good at that because I played games, so, I never bothered eating.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, so eat something. And, I grabbed a bowl of cereal and ate. And, I kind of tried to relax and not anything happen, hopefully. So I remember I was leaning up on a wall. And after that, I don't remember anything. So when I came about, paramedics were already there. I'm like, what? Oh my God. Well, what happened?
Weird.
So, and it's funny because paramedics, as they found out that I was coming about, they were like, so, what day is it? And I couldn't remember what day it was.
Oh, shit.
I couldn't remember what season it was. Like,
Wow.
they asked me all these questions and it's like, oh my God, did I lose my memory? It turns out that the way a paramedic explained to me is that when you have a seizure, your brain goes through like running a marathon, where like once you cool down, it just little by little starts coming back. So for about 2 years after that, I did keep having seizures. I was seeing doctors and everything. They did brain scans, CAT scans, MRIs, and all that came normal. It was this test called I don't even know what to call it anymore. EEG. There we go. EEG.
Oh, yeah.
They do all these blinking light tests on you, and that's where it came out abnormal. And so the doctor was trying to figure out, well, which medication combinations would be the best. It wasn't after 2 years that, okay, this is it. And so after those 2 years, I still had to wait a couple of years before I got the go on being able to play games again.
That's crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah, it is.
So finally, after the combination came back, oh, well, here you go. And after 5 years, then the doctor said, okay, you know what? You're ready to go. You can play video games again. So I've been seizure free since 1998.
It's great.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
So,
But it was a struggle. It was a struggle though.
I don't even know where to go from here.
I know, right?
I'm trying to think of a question to ask you. Like, so you haven't had an issue since then. Do you find that, like modern games have been better about that? Better about epilepsy?
I wish I knew like what kind of experience other people had, because it's actually a very low percentage that people have this problem. So one of the things that for me was what actually helped is the fact that LCD screens came about rather than CRT TVs.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
Yeah.
CRT TVs create this very fast flicker in the background that some people cannot pick it up, but I'm very sensitive to it. So for me, when flat screens came about, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in heaven already. 'Cause I cannot pick up this flicker at all. So, because from what I understand, some of these TVs don't even have this flicker at all.
Is it like a refresh rate issue? Like it's refreshing too fast on a CRT versus an LCD, or what?
I believe that's what it is, or it could be the electronics behind a CRT TV.
Yeah, like the fact that a CRT is like a tube as opposed to
Lights or
whatever. Yeah, whatever it is that's in other like non-CRTs and stuff. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. Like
Yeah, it is.
it's crazy to me that like you had to go that long without being able to play video games, something that you love to do, because of something that you can't control. That would drive me insane.
Yeah, and it actually did, because video games was my outlet. I mean, now I'm not into sports, and I'm also not into grown up stuff like weddings and stuff. So
Weddings, very grown up stuff.
I was just bored out of my mind,
Yeah.
So it was a good thing that the doctor was able to give me the go on playing video games.
Yeah, that's a worry that I have too. Like maybe my hands or my vision goes and I can't enjoy the things that I love.
Yeah.
It's a worry
Right.
I have. But I've never had to deal anything with like that before.
Yeah, it was a struggle. It's and as a matter of fact, as a little kid, I still suffer from panic attacks, which is another factor that actually I was able to take care of about 2 years ago. and I knew about Twitch before then, but since I had panic attacks, I was afraid to have a panic attack in front of camera.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I took care of that issue, and that's why now I'm streaming. And eventually, I want to get to a point where I can do like a donation stream to a epilepsy foundation, which is something I found out about recently.
Excellent.
That sounds really cool, man.
Yeah, let us know when you get that started, because I definitely want to let people know about stuff like that.
I will definitely let you know, man.
Yeah, that's something that I'd like to do, like, as well with our group here, is like do charity streams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like my sister suffers from MS. I would like to do one for MS. I like to do one for like just mental health issues as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah, let us know when you want to get that running. We'll help you out.
And in the epilepsy, as far as epilepsy donations and stuff like that, it's really hard because I get it, because there's actually more, terminal diseases like cancer and stuff like that. So epilepsy is not one of those that gets a big spot or anything, right? But just as an FYI, November is the official Epilepsy Awareness Month, and the ribbon color would be purple. And
good color.
And I know that you, Thomas, have seen my stream before, but I don't know if you've noticed that I have a purple frame around my.
Yeah, I noticed
everything.
The purple. I didn't know it was for the epilepsy thing, though.
Yeah, it's something that I haven't gotten to mention to anybody, but that's why it's there, or that's why the color purple is my main color.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Just on the note of the panic attacks, because that's one thing I can definitely relate to you on, because I used to have panic attacks a lot when I was a kid. I don't know, I guess it just came from just me being naturally overly concerned about everything around me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I would just, all of a sudden it was hard to breathe, all that kind of thing. It's like, sometimes you kind of like forget where you are too, and like what's going on around you and stuff like that. So that's definitely really rough. But, I'm glad you're able to overcome that as well, because that's another one of those things that I feel like it doesn't get talked about a lot. Like someone will be like, oh, I'm having a panic attack. And then someone's like, oh, well, calm down. It's like, well, it's not really that simple, It's like, you can't just calm down, Yeah. It's like your body's kind of like on autopilot, but it's like not taking you somewhere you want to go pretty much. So, but yeah, I found that just over the years that just, meditation, yoga, concentration, stuff like that.
Meditation really helps. Yeah.
Yeah. And, video games, it's certain types of video games, stuff where something like relaxing, something repetitive, maybe that kind of gets your mind off of like everything else. Like honestly, I'm kind of a weirdo because like with me, Dark Souls is one of those games that I play to relax, which is funny because like every other YouTube video I've ever seen out there is of people playing Dark Souls. It's just them like losing their minds over
just
how
yelling at the
difficult
screen.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. I've played through that game so many times now though. It's almost like going through a haunted house where where all the jump scares are going to be almost. So. But yeah, that's like I was saying, panic attacks, that's one thing it's a lot more common than people think. And, it's definitely something that can be dealt with.
Oh yeah, I totally hear you on that because, I would get yelled at by people like telling me calm down. And yeah, it's really not that easy as people think.
Yeah. And that doesn't help. It's like, calm down. Why are you yelling at me to calm down?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was a weirdo too on that, and it got to the point that I couldn't watch things like forensic files because they would say, things like what causes the tumor, and one of those little things would be like, oh, well, you feel a headache on this side. I'm like, oh, dude, I feel a headache on this side. So that would start something right away. So yeah, I would start sweating bullets and everything like that. So yeah, it was hard.
So Rick, where can I find you? Because because I haven't really seen any of your content before, and I'm really curious to check out your stuff now.
So on Twitch, I am at G Heroes Game Room, and I'm also on YouTube as G Heroes Game Room as well. On Twitter, I am at GHero18.
I love that you have hero in your name.
It's a very interesting story. My name, a lot of people ask me where my name comes from. Mm-hmm. And the reality on that is that, well, when I got my PS3, it was the first time I was exposed to like, oh, create a user account for your whole for PlayStation. And at the time, I was into the Guitar Hero game, big time. So I said, okay, well, I'll just put G Hero.
Nice.
So rather than having to change it through time, I just kept it as everything. So that's the whole story behind that.
Got a nice ring to it, though. I like it.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, going back to you guys' panic attacks and stuff, I used to get anxiety as a kid. And it eventually stemmed into depression. But a lot of my calming and soothing gameplay kind of relied on Metal Gear Solid.
Oh,
just because it's really slow pace, you're sneaking around, and it doesn't require like a lot of action like right away. But only when you get caught, that's when I get really anxious.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I get anxious whenever I hear that.
And I'd like freak the hell out as soon as I heard that. But the music is like what kind of calmed me down, like after that initial getting caught. But
oh, nice.
Yeah.
For a time, I thought that anxiety and panic attacks were the same thing, but later I found out that they just weren't.
Yeah, people just closely associate them both to each other because they're so close to one another.
Yeah, so like I said, 2 years ago is when I fixed the panic attack, but I would always like tell the doctors, no, it's anxiety. So they would give me stuff for anxiety, but nothing would actually ever happen because I didn't have anxiety. I had panic attacks.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I feel like stuff like that, anxiety, panic attacks, just really more like kind of mental sort of things. I feel like it's really, really common, especially amongst the gaming community online, because a lot of us, we use gaming as an outlet to sort of relieve those sort of things like depression or anxiety, stuff like that. So I thought that was something that was really interesting once I started getting more into like watching Let's Plays and, getting more into like YouTube gaming and all that kind of stuff. I started seeing more people do charity streams for depression and whatnot. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. I wonder why all these channels have this in common. But then I kind of realized that it almost kind of, I don't want to say it like naturally goes hand in hand, but it's just something that, I guess it's really common to use gaming as an outlet or as a means of relaxation or just kind of a way to just kind of get out of your head or get out of like what's bothering you in the real world. And then it's just like, hey, if you have a crappy day, jump into Skyrim, kill a few dragons, you're a badass, in game, that kind of thing. So,
well, I do know that a lot of the outlet, that other people have is GTA. Oh, you know what? I had a bad day with a boss. Let me kill this boss in the game and.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which always, it was always funny to me when people were like, oh, well, video games will make you a violent person. I'm like, no, video games keep me from being a violent person.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. I think a lot of the whole mental health awareness through gaming has to do with the fact that more people that are creative tend to have more links to depression. Like you look at Van Gogh, you look at Edgar Allan Poe, and all the great historical creative artists. They all had some type of mental problem going on, and their way of channeling through it and getting through it was their art. So in today's society, I think it's mostly video games and movies. But I think more so nowadays, it's more in the gaming aspect, and you're getting more personality, you're getting more in-depth storytelling, you're getting a lot more reality kind of feel to it, just because people are now not afraid to show their emotions and show how they feel, like especially with like The Last Guardian and all the newer games that are coming out, and I think Horizon Zero Dawn now also is just more personality, more character driven storylines. Last of Us, definitely character driven.
Oh my goodness, The Last of Us, that first opening scene, dude, like
exactly, it pulls you in.
I cried like a baby.
And exactly, and that's what we didn't get when we were kids and playing games on the Super Nintendo and the NES. You didn't get that kind of storytelling. You just got a generic story, like get to start here, end here, save the princess, complete this mission, destroy this bad guy. No legitimate storyline. Well, maybe Double Dragon, but that was just. It was.
In some of those Double Dragon games, you ended up having to fight each other at the end, though, to get the girl, which I thought was kind of like...
It's messed
like,
up. They're
dude,
brothers. You got to beat your own brother up to get the girl.
That never made sense to me.
I love seeing that, though, the Double Dragon, when you fight each other at arcades back in the day. Because, you have two strangers fighting against each other for a girl, it just... it was a funny sight.
Yeah.
It's like co-op followed up by no-op.
Exactly.
Right?
Division after we beat the boss, man. Division.
Yeah. Oh, man.
All right. So with that, let's get into the games we've been playing. But before we get into the games, let me just tell you about Patreon. Patreon is a platform that helps support creators like us. You can head on over to patreon.com/chargeshot and toss a couple of dollars our way to get the show early and other bonus and perks. You have no money to spare, no problem. Just head on over to your favorite podcast catcher like iTunes or Stitcher and leave a 5-star rating. Share the podcast, share the love. All right, Lo, what have you been playing this week?
This week, I have been playing my usual stuff, Paladins, just here and there, which is really interesting because the funny thing about Paladins is I actually really don't like multiplayer shooters, like playing against other people. But I really like this game just because it's like objective based and it's not all about, hey, shoot the other team and that's all you have to do. So I've been playing that on and off. Let's see, what else have I been playing? Fallout New Vegas. And that's pretty much it for the most part. I've been playing a little bit of Battleborn. I actually picked up Battleborn for a pretty cheap price just to check it out, and I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. I've been playing through the story mode, and I like all the different characters and stuff like that, and it's pretty neat. So yeah, other than that, there was this one game, well, I can't really talk about it too much, but it's called Fortnite. It's by Epic Games, so the guys responsible for Unreal Tournament and all that kind of stuff. It is being developed on the new Unreal 4 engine. It's kind of like a survival, like crafting sort of game. It's pretty cool. So hopefully it goes open beta soon, because I think it's been in development for like a couple of years now.
It's been in development for a while. Like, I didn't even know if they dropped it or were still working on it at one point.
I think the reason for that, for it's such a long development cycle, is because they took away a big chunk of their team to focus more on Paragon, which is their MOBA that they're developing.
Okay.
And that game looks like really fantastic. I played it a couple of times, but I don't know. I'm not a big MOBA guy, and it just kind of seemed a little complicated. There's always some kind of a learning curve, especially with like MOBAs that are trying to be unique. Anybody that's trying to not be the Dota or the League of Legends, stuff like that. So, I hear it's doing pretty well though, and it definitely looks phenomenal, like visually speaking. So, yeah, hopefully Fortnite gets open beta soon, because I'd like more people to try it out.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to get a hand on that. I also have Battleborn, but I just haven't played it yet. Maybe me and you should do something.
Oh yeah,
make a video for the site or something.
Yeah.
All right, Ray, what's been on your tray of games?
Well, I dug up the old Wii, and I started playing House of the Dead Overkill.
Oh, that's a good one.
Nice.
Nothing like 70s exploitation style shooting.
I love House of the Dead.
Yeah, it's really fun. I'm just like still like I'm at the Carney level, so I'm like getting all creeped out by the clowns.
Are you scared of clowns?
I'm not like intensely scared of clowns. I just like get really anxious around clowns.
It's not natural.
The movie It like got me on that. That's all I gotta say.
Ugh.
The Insane Clown Posse got me afraid of clowns. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, they got me laughing at clowns again.
Do you guys remember that thing that was like kind of a trend for a while? It's just the creepy clown thing. People would dress up as creepy clowns and just hang out in just random spots.
That was like a couple of years ago.
Why? Yeah, like that. I don't understand like people who like, hey, I'm going to do this because it'll be fun. Like,
I think it triggers back to people's kind of remote fear of clowns, and just seeing a clown with a ridiculously hilarious large mallet crushing something scares the crap out of people. And they want that.
Yes.
And like,
I don't know in whose right mind anybody thought that clowns look happy or whatever, but they always look scary to me.
I think maybe they were, and then people just started aping on that fear of clowns. Like,
Probably.
I said last week that I've been watching WWE and they have Doink and Dink the Clown, and it's just awful. It needs to go. Like, I need to get out of that era. I need to get past that and into the Attitude Era, where the good stuff is.
Well, even with the Attitude Era, they had the Insane Clown Posse wrestling, but it's like
They still have that, by the way. I just found out that they have Insane Clown Posse Wrestling League.
what?
And I'm just like, what is going on with the world? It's insane. And
I
it's
did not know that was an
like,
actual thing.
it's an actual thing. And I think like Sabu came from there and a couple other like actually known wrestlers
Oh wow!
in WCW and WWE. It's weird. It's freaking weird, man. All right, Rick, what's been on your plate this week?
So this week I've been playing Neo.
Oh, yes.
So I know that people say that it's kind of like Dark Souls and
yeah,
Bloodborne, but I have actually never played any of the Dark Souls series or Bloodborne. So to me, this is fairly new, and I'm liking it. It's really nice. I like the whole demonic aspects of it and everything. So there's that, and of course, my daughter doesn't stop me from playing Overwatch.
Nice.
So that's also on my plate.
I heard they announced a new character for Overwatch, GDC.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Oh yes, Orisa, yes.
Yeah. I haven't played since they added any of the new characters. It's been a while. I don't know. I played that like a lot when it first came out, and then I just stopped and started playing other things. Like Breath of the Wild.
Oh my goodness. Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, so I ended up getting the Wii U version because I'm not willing to fork out $600 for a new console and a game.
It's a lot of jelly beans.
It's a lot of jelly beans. It's a lot of rupees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Breath of the Wild, that's a cool game. When I was playing it, it reminds me a lot of The Witcher 3 and Assassin's Creed put together. So you have this huge sprawling open world and you can climb anything and you can go anywhere, just like all the marketers say. And in this game, it's kind of to its advantage that you can do that, because unlike the other games, when you climb a mountain or a spiral and then cover the map, it doesn't litter it with icons everywhere. You actually have to look at certain things in the distance and mark them on your map and say, I want to go there because there's a thing over there that I want to check out.
Nice. I like that.
And sometimes when you get there, there's nothing there and you're like, oh, well, this place is kind of cool. And then you uncover a secret, you pick up no joke, you pick up a rock and there's a thing hiding underneath there. And it's like, here, have this seed. And the seeds help you upgrade your inventory space.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So there's cool stuff like that. It does have the Assassin's Creed towers that uncovers the map. There's not as many, there's not as many temples, but there's a lot of shrines. And these shrines are small areas that have one or two puzzles with your abilities. So bombs and the ice rod or the magnet. It's just a giant magnet. And when you complete those, you get a sphere or something that allows you to upgrade your health or stamina so you can climb more or take more damage. Yeah, so that's kind of the
Nice.
gameplay loop that's going on now. There's tons of different quests. There's side quests that you can easily skip over. There's one right now that told me that this dude's like, hey, I found the fairy fountain. I'm like, oh, really? I found that 10 hours ago. He's like, I'll show you where it is. I'm like, no, I'm good. I know where it is.
Sounds like there's plenty to do in the game.
Oh, there's so much to do. I've only uncovered 3 areas of the map.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know what it means, but I think I heard last night that Zelda so far has the highest rated game ever in the history.
Yeah, it's getting
what?
10s like literally everywhere. Last time I saw it, it was like a 98 Metacritic,
Wow,
which
pretty
is
high.
the highest I've ever seen it. Really.
Yeah, I thought I read somewhere in like Europe, I think in Spain, one critic gave it a 9 out of 10, and that's like the only 9 out of 10 in the world.
Probably just did that just to be edgy.
Yeah.
No, 9. Yeah, my concern, like the only real concern I had with Breath of the Wild was that you would run out of stuff to do eventually, but it sounds like there's enough stuff and enough varied stuff in the game to do to where it'll keep you entertained for quite some time, which is awesome. That was really my only concern with when I first heard about it.
Yeah, mine too.
I've heard like reviewers saying that they've played it for like 100 hours and they're still going and haven't defeated Ganon. There's a couple things though that like, honestly, I would give it a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10 because there's a couple things there that really takes me out of it. Like there was one example, I went into one of those trials, and there's a puzzle there that has to deal with motion controls. And there's a ball in this like maze, and you have to like tilt the Wii U thing, or I guess your Switch, and try and get it out of the maze. I just got pissed off and I just flung the ball out of the maze and hit it into where it needed to go.
That's one way to do it.
I was like, fuck this.
It's the best way to do it.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things like that, like your weapons break, which isn't a very big deal, but it also means like you really shouldn't even bother try fighting people unless they have better weapons than you or better gear. Trying to think of other things because there's so much to do. I love paragliding, like just jumping off a mountain and paragliding. It's a beautiful game.
Nice. How is it performance-wise on the Wii U?
Performance-wise, so there's, I believe the Switch also has this, but there's parts where the frame rate does get jittery. Like it goes a little bit all over the place. It gets a little framey, they say. But other than that, it's all right. It's at times for me, I can tell like it's got jaggies in it, which doesn't look that appealing. But overall, I say it's a solid, good-looking game.
You know, speaking of the frame rates, I think it's more of to me, it's more of a complaint rather than
well, it's noticeable
than an issue. Because I believe that any game on console, but not necessarily on PC, will have that frame rate problem.
Yeah,
it's noticeable though, because like, say I go into Kakariko Village from wherever I was just wandering, and you can see it really chugging. Like it goes like 20 to 30 frames. Like it bounces between the two. Like you can really notice it.
Oh wow!
Right,
but it's not that bad. It's not enough to take me out of the experience. So yeah, that's I tried taming a horse, got kicked in the face. I tried landing on a horse. Like I jumped off a mountain. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be so cool. I'm gonna jump onto this horse and like tame it. And it's like, nope. It like back kicks me in the face, and I go flipping backwards.
I'm glad we can laugh about this all together as gamers, because if we were having this discussion with regular people, they'd be like, what? Why the hell are you getting kicked in the face, man?
What's wrong with you people?
It's so funny. It's great. Like I just like you can get lost wandering in that game because it's so huge. So I've been mostly playing that, and I'll talk a little bit about Mafia 3. If you don't want spoilers for the ending of Mafia 3, tune out now. All right. So I finished off Mafia 3 last night. If you guys don't want to know, you can cover your ears or whatever. So Mafia 3, at the end, once you finally kill everybody and you finally take control of New Bordeaux, you get a couple options to leave or stay, and things happen to you. Either you get killed or they just talk about you in the past sense. But after the credits, after you switch back to Donovan, which was the FBI agent that was helping you out, kill off the mobs, he reveals that his plan to kill the mob was because they were behind the JFK assassination. And then he says that the senator that he's having the hearing with was part of it, and he kills him in the Senate. And then he turns to the camera and he's like, I'm just starting with him. I'm coming for the rest. And then he leaves. And you're like, what the fuck?
Wow.
So I kind
sounds like some Sounds like Sons of Liberty.
Yeah, it does.
it's
At the end of it.
I just want Mafia 4 right now. I just want to be Donovan and like go on revenge, like trying to like kill off the rest of the JFK assassinators.
That's really cool. I like how games like take like historical events and like kind of just sort of not really go crazy with it, but do really interesting things with it, you know?
Yeah, it was like so
stuff like that's
faithful
really interesting.
to the era and like everything about it. And then at the end, it's like, you know what? No, this is like alternate history.
That's awesome.
It's great. I love it.
Newsy news tune, a newsy news tune.
Hey, Justin's here all along. Wait, Justin, where are you going? No, get back here. You need the news. Oh, okay. All right. Like my acting.
Justin, you have to do the news.
You're the news
have to do
editor,
the
damn
news.
it. All right, well, he's gone.
He's lost to us.
All right. So let's get in. Let's try and get past the Nintendo Switch news. I feel like we've had a lot of Nintendo Switch news. I mean, every week it's just been Switch. So let's try and just get through the Nintendo news. All right. So first off, apparently Nintendo Switch cartridges taste terrible. It's become a trend lately. I think it's still going on where people are eating their Nintendo Switch cartridges because they want the YouTube dollars. It first started off with a funny thing that Jeff Gersman did on The Giant Bomb on Professional Friday, where Drew Scanlon just asked him, how's the mouth feel? And he put a Switch cartridge in his mouth, and apparently hours later he's saying that it tastes like shit still. So everyone's trying it now. And apparently Nintendo did this on purpose. They covered it in a what is this? A bittering agent, denotium benzoate.
Yeah, they it's a chemical used in like cleaners and hand soap, and they actually put it on. It's the protective coating that they put on like a lot of medications, so the bitter taste on the pill, like aspirin or ibuprofen, that's what you're tasting. But it's just it's increased so much so that you don't eat that cartridge.
I can already see on YouTube something like how many Nintendo Switch cartridges can you lick challenge or something like that.
How many can you fit in your mouth without vomiting?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Some kind of challenge on YouTube.
You only have like 3 or 4 games though, so I mean, there's not really that many to pick from.
I just think it's funny that they did this to keep children from eating these cartridges, but then there's all these adults on YouTube just eating, like licking away.
I'm nodding in agreement with you so much.
It's like, come on, guys, lead by example.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah, everybody just wants to make sure it's an actual thing and not just a rumor.
I need to protect my kids. Let me eat this cartridge.
Let me lick this cartridge so I can't play it for a couple of hours until it dries completely.
And then you have the kids come in. It's like, Dad, what are you doing? Just stop eating my Nintendo games.
This is for your own safety.
All right. And then we have some games here are going to be touch only. I believe there's one out in Japan that's touch only right now. Yeah, the software cannot be played in TV mode. So you have to take it out of the holder and play it. Which, I don't know, I guess since they're having some caveats to their rules of how to play the games, I see a lot of like maybe iPhone games coming to this thing now. A lot of mobile games. Like maybe they're Nintendo games that they're making, like Fire Emblem Fates and Run Mario Run. I don't know the name of the Mario Run game. I think it's just Mario Run.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I can see Nintendo getting more into the mobile gaming, especially just with the introduction of the Switch and everything like that, and just also with the fact that I guess games now, when you buy them, they're bound to your account, so it'd be kind of cool to be able to, you know, have the option to download a game and either be able to play it on a Switch or on a mobile phone. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, it doesn't sound surprising. But the fact that a lot of people that you see out on the streets, you know, when they're playing a game, they're just touching the screen. But my question is, well, that sounds great and all, but I don't think the Nintendo Switch has 4G capabilities either.
No, I mean, my tablet doesn't. But no, it's got the local multiplayer though, so you can have like you and your friends have Switch. If y'all have Switches, you can all connect each other, like they showed in the commercials.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is going to be probably a lot of porting. They're going to have to like port mobile games onto this. Like I could see them porting Miitomo so you can have your Mii customized all the time.
That'd be cool.
Or, you know, maybe if the money's right, they'll probably do Pokemon Go for the Switch now. And you can implement battle system that way, but with a local Wi-Fi or just like communication like Street Pass kind of for the battle
that's
system.
One thing that they didn't launch with is a Street Pass for this thing, which was one of the best features of the 3DS.
Yeah, some of the things about the Switch seem a little rushed to me, but I mean, I feel like that's kind of common with like game console developers. They just kind of rush to get stuff out into the market, and then they're like, okay, well, yeah, we'll just release it, and then we'll fix it after the fact. Which it's kind of, I don't know, it kind of sends up like, not a red flag, but kind of like a yellow or an orange flag in my head, because Nintendo, I feel like they're all about polish. Like they don't release stuff unless it's like done, like 100% done. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We're just gonna have to see where it goes. Maybe that's their plan all along. Maybe they just were planning to release the Switch and then planning on developing stuff for it over time as time goes on.
You know, for me, the whole Street Pass thing and as far as the Nintendo Switch that you can connect to other consoles, I don't think for me it benefits me that much because I feel like in the region that I live in, there's not really any gamers. I feel like I'm the only one in my city that is the gamer. So like, come on, where's everybody at?
Yeah.
Right.
I actually had a next door neighbor that had a 3DS, so I would just constantly Street Pass with him. And I've never met this person before in my life. I still haven't, but he was like my 3DS buddy. Moving on, we've got 17 games announced for the Switch, which is good because I felt like there was like no games else other than Zelda for this thing. So we got a few here. I'm going to do a rapid fire. Welcome to the Switch lightning round, everybody. I'm just going to read off this list of games and give me your hot takes. Starting with Stardew Valley.
That's really cool. Multiplayer on the Switch. That's all we need to say.
All right, so we got Stardew Valley. Also, apparently multiplayer is going to be coming to PC first, apparently, according to the creator. Steam World Dig 2. All right, I haven't played it. I might try this one out if it's any good, but I might do it on a different platform. Ukulele.
That one actually looked fun.
Yeah, I remember seeing Justin play a little bit of that. It seems like a really, it seems like basically a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. In fact, I believe it's being developed by some former Rare developers.
Yeah, it is. A lot of the team. I think 2/3 of the team.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
It's kind of like what happened with Infinity Ward and then Titanfall, which is cool. I like that. I like how devs, they don't stop developing. They just go somewhere else and continue to do what they like to do.
It's going to be cool that we're going to get a Rare style game on a Nintendo platform now.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that.
Although I played Banjo-Kazooie 1 and I think I'm pretty good with that. 2 didn't hold my interest as much as 1 did. Overcooked.
Sounds like a cooking sim to me.
It's like a arcade like co-op, same screen, couch game where you're cooking all these different foods and you're trying to get the orders out as fast as you can.
Oh, okay.
It's co-op and competitive.
That sounds like it could be fun.
Yeah.
I'd say it'd be a cool party game. I don't think playing by yourself would do it justice.
No, you need to have 2 or 3 other people with you. Escapist 2. No one cares.
I've seen lots of Let's Plays on that game, and I mean, it seems interesting, just not a game that I would play myself. I'd rather watch it than actually play it myself.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't really care. Like, I've played a little bit of it. I'm like, this isn't really for me. It's too slow paced for my opinion. Goner.
That one looks interesting.
It looks pretty cool. It's an interesting shooter. The animation though is very unique. It's really cool looking. I would play it.
The animation looks almost like WarioWare-esque.
Exactly.
Dendara.
Oh, it looks like another kind of side-scrolling platform. Oh yeah, it seems kind of Metroidvania-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Only it seems really like topsy-turvy. Like there's a lot of like wall jumping, wall hanging, and stuff like that. It seems really skill-based. So
Yeah, kind of like a Super Meat Boy kind of thing.
Yeah. Kind of like that.
I'm getting
Mixed
that.
with-
I'm getting that mixed with Prince of Persia.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's a good. That's a
It,
good.
yeah, it seems like it's a blend of
analysis.
things. Being able to like grapple onto ceilings and stuff and like do these like little charged shots seems pretty cool.
Oh, char shot.
Oh, chart shot.
I see. What you
Hey, see what I did there?
did the thing. Amazing.
I did the thing.
Kingdom 2 Crowns.
A lot of pixel-based, pixely games I'm seeing.
It's a lot of Nintendo indie games,
I'm liking the art style.
which I'll get to that point. I'll get to that point after we go through this entire list. This game's been out. It kind of looks like a clicker in my books, where you just go around, you collect the resources, and then you build
Right.
your sides up to get more resources. I don't know. It's not. It doesn't hold my interest, but I've seen people play it, and it looks all right.
Yeah, I would think it'd be better with like just the multiplayer aspect of it more so than the single player campaign. I think that's what this game is relying on solely, I think.
Bit Trip Runner 3.
It's a runner.
Bit Trip. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I've always known as the Bit Trip series to be more of a music, but this looks like a 3D platformer actually.
It's like a 2.5D.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're just calling it Runner 3. They're dropping the whole bit trip aspect of it for some reason.
I've never played the last Bit Trip games.
They're pretty fun. You just it's timing is everything because it's all hand-eye coordination.
Blaster Master Zero, the sequel to Blaster Master.
Okay, now that's a winner right there.
This game looks cool.
Yes.
This game looks pretty cool.
I've never played the original Blaster Master, so I don't know what this is like. It's like a
Oh,
2D action game, I guess.
Yeah, side-scrolling action. It's kind of like, I don't know, like Mega Man.
Yeah, and then it has its overhead shot moments. There's segments there.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy that we're getting a sequel to Blaster, or I guess it's a prequel sequel. I don't know, to Blaster Master after like 20 years.
Right?
Well, actually, they did release like a Blaster Master Rebirth on the Wii as a WiiWare type download.
Cool.
So that one was pretty cool.
All right, we got Flipping Death.
No trailer for that. It just looks like it seems like it's going to be like a puzzle type game, puzzle adventure game.
Graceful Explosion Machine.
I like the art style to this. The art style seems really cool.
It's a lot of shooters and a lot of indie stuff.
Yeah, noticing that.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty neat. I'd have to play it to get a feel of how it controls, but it looks like a really cool arcade shooter. Mr. Shifty.
Okay, this game looks neat. This game looks like it's Hotline Miami, like next level.
Oh yeah, I can see what you mean.
It's got that kind of top down, like really like quick reactionary type of like combat. That little kind of like dash thing you can do too is pretty neat looking.
Yeah, I've always I liked Hotline Miami 1. 2 is all right. I like those kind of action, like twitchy based type of I didn't even call them puzzle games instead of just action games, like an action puzzle, because the way you go through these levels is you have to figure out what you have to do first and like in the manner that you need to do them. So I like these type of games.
Yeah, I would definitely get this game just because I like the whole Hotline Miami overview look. Reminds me of MDK, like back in the day.
MDK,
Yeah.
wow.
I remember that game. That was a good game.
Jeez. I haven't heard that in forever.
Right?
We have Tumbleseed here.
Not sure what this is.
Well, it's saying it's physics based, so I'm assuming it's like it's gonna have those physics like a Little Big Planet, from what I'm seeing here.
We got Shakedown Hawaii. Kind of looks like what was that 16-bit like open world game that came out a few years ago?
Retro City Rampage.
Yes, looks like that.
Yeah, it looks exactly like even the main character looks like the main character from that.
Yeah, that was a fun game. I like that.
That was a fun
I
game.
think this is supposed to be a successor to that.
Oh yeah, right there, first sentence. Retro City Rampage's 16-bit spiritual successor. There it is right there.
You should just call it a cutesy GTA or something. Cause
Yeah, it's like a classic
That's
GTA
basically
game.
what it is. Yeah.
I like the art
Something
style.
charming
of this.
about those graphics though.
Yeah, looks cool. Might want to check that out. Coming on the Vita as well. It's pretty cool. We got Pocket Rumble. It's a 2D fighting game. It's been out on the PC in early access for a while. And we also got Wargroove here, which is kind of like Advanced Wars.
I remember that game.
Which a lot of people have been wanting a spiritual successor to for a long time.
Oh, yeah, it's been like 15 years, right?
Yeah.
All right. So as you can see, all of these are actually indie games.
I've never seen so many launch titles that are indie games for a console anyways. Like, honestly, the most experience I've had with indie games has been after I started gaming on PC. Maybe a little bit towards the end of my 360 days, because I remember there was like a little tab buried deep within the store of like indie games and stuff like that. So this is cool. I like this. I like the fact that indie games are getting a little more of a spotlight, and especially they're being debuted as launch titles. I think that's pretty rad.
Yeah, like launch window, like this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I think this, I think the Switch is going to thrive with indies because like the bigger players might not want to like get in on an install base if it's not that big, but indies want to be everywhere, right?
Right.
And what better place to take your independent game than on the go? Like you're sitting on the bus or whatever the hell you're doing, and you want to play a quick level of like Wargroove, or you want to get a quick fight of Pocket Rumble. Just pull it out, play it a little bit, put it away.
And it gets that free advertising that, hey, what are you playing?
Like,
oh,
these
really?
were announced.
I never heard of that
these
game.
were announced on a Nintendo Direct. Like they got that's a lot of coverage for these indie games. So now that we blasted mastered through all these indie games
Without Zero.
Yeah. Do you want to get into your PC articles here, Lo?
Yeah. Before I do, there's actually one that was sort of kind of Switch related still. And Unreal Engine 4 is going to be supported on the Nintendo Switch. So this is pretty big news because Unreal Engine 4, first of all, Unreal Engine's been around for ages. I mean, the more games I play, the more games I realize actually utilize Unreal Engine of some iteration. So I think it's really cool that developers will be able to develop in the Unreal Engine for the Switch, because I've played a few of the Unreal Engine 4 titles, like the new Unreal Tournament and Fortnite. They're both in alpha still, so they're not finished, but they look really great. Especially just with like lighting effects and stuff like that. I just feel like the lighting effects, particularly in the Unreal Engine, are really impressive. And yeah, and it looks like they're also going to be remaking The Warrior Within in the Unreal Engine 4, which I'm looking forward to because Prince of Persia was really, really cool action adventure title for sure. So
Yeah, Warrior Within. Was that the second or the third Prince of Persia game in that Santa time?
I think it was the second.
Yeah, that's the one where he became like really emo and stuff, right?
It was either that or just before he became really emo. I don't remember which one it is. I think the one where he becomes like the Dark Prince, that might have been like Two Thrones or Two Crowns, something like that. It's some kind of some title to that effect.
They're like ripping off
But
the
I think
title
this one
for
was
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and I think Warrior Within was where I think that's the one where he's being chased by that weird big monster thing that's like chasing him because he like traveled through time so many times. It's kind of like a big time enforcer. Like, what do they call it? Like the Dahaka.
Like a time cop or something?
Kind of like that, yeah. Only this is just a big monster that'll just smash you instead of arresting you. But yeah, I'm looking really forward to I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of titles that they'll come out with in the Unreal Engine on the Switch, because also it'll be a great opportunity to show what the Switch is capable of performance-wise too.
Speaking of Unreal Engine 4 on the Switch, I don't know if you guys have seen videos of people recreating Zelda sections like from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, like on YouTube videos using. I wish that would be a thing.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
It looks really, really good, and it looks very fun to play.
Yeah, I remember seeing some footage. It was that last part in Majora's Mask, And they even animated like the fierce deity mask and everything and the transformation, and it just looks so freaking cool. It looked fluid and it looked beautiful. There's all these like particle effects and stuff. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the Unreal Engine 4 so far.
Did you want to go through your other PC gaming? Because I don't really know too much about like the AMD Ryzen 7 thing.
I don't know too much about it either. I know that it's the new CPU from AMD, and it's gonna change the game pretty much. Just from a lot of the benchmarks and stuff that I've seen, it's definitely like a viable option for like an entry level CPU. So actually one of my friends I actually just started associating with on Twitter, his name's Aztec. He did a video talking about it, and he was saying that it almost makes like the i3 and maybe even the i5, not obsolete, but like it's basically going to be a better option in comparison. So that's just something I wanted to keep an eye on for anybody who's like thinking about getting into PC gaming. This is going to be a really affordable CPU for you to be able to use. And apparently like performance wise, it's pretty much where it's at. So, and this particular article from PC Gamer, it just shows like some benchmarks and stuff like that. But this was kind of like, this thing was like overclocked, like through the roof. And it was also like ridiculously liquid cooled. So this is a very extreme example.
Oh yeah.
It just shows what it's capable of, which it's pretty impressive. It can definitely take quite a bit of stress.
Since it reached like 5.2 gigahertz, which is freaking insane.
Right? They had to liquid cool it though. It's like, what was it? Liquid nitrogen cooling, taking the temperature down to negative 200 degrees Celsius. So,
damn.
So if you want to get that kind of performance out of your AMD Ryzen, you're going to have to do a little bit of liquid cooling, just a little.
Well, I don't doubt that the AMD processors, are good. It's just that in my past experience, I always had an issue with AMD when, I'm running an application on my PC, and rather than Windows telling me that the program is frozen, if you want to close it, the whole computer just freezes on me. That's the only issue that I've had with AMD. And
I have heard a few issues like that before, just with like, more specifically like heat and stuff like that, like overheating and, power consumption and whatnot. Just from a lot of the people who are AMD advocates that I've spoken to, it seems like this new kind of generation of technology is going to be more efficient, both power wise, also as far as heat and stuff like that. So again, I'm an Intel guy. Like my PC, a buddy built it for me. So I have like a NVIDIA GPU, Intel i5, something like that. So, I mean, everything's been working beautiful for me, so I probably won't be jumping ship anytime soon. But like I said, it's just something good to keep an eye out for.
Yeah.
right.
And it says here in the article, like further down the line, it says the base and the turbo clock speeds are 3.6 base and 4.0 gigahertz turbo, which is pretty good. Yeah. I have a pretty old, well, no, it's not old. It's maybe like 3 years old, Intel i5. So a few years down the line, they might make something even better. I might grab that.
And then moving on. I wanted to talk about Ark Survival Evolved a little bit because the devs are doing something pretty interesting. I feel like the Ark devs are always doing something interesting, but,
Ark devs. These guys. Okay. So like the one thing I know, like I've played that game. It's not my cup of tea, but they've released like a separate expansion pack on top of their early access game. Which
it was paid, right?
Yeah, it was paid. Like, come on, man. Like, finish the game before you make a expansion pass. What are you doing?
Yeah. That was like, that alone, like, after I heard about that, I was about to try out the game and I'm like, I don't know. But then I saw this story. Also, this is also from PC Gamer. They're going to be starting to pay modders $4,000 a month to, the headline says to complete their mods.
Complete their game?
So, yeah. Basically, they're going to be paying modders to finish their game for them. And so it's kind of, again, like the yellow-orange flag is kind of going. I'm just like, okay, well, like, that's interesting. But at the same time, $4,000 a month, that's
pretty good money.
That's pretty decent,
yeah.
You know? Like, and especially considering like a lot of modders do their modding and it's unpaid. Yeah. It's either crowdfunded or unpaid work or stuff like that. So I think I think it's kind of like sort of weird, kind of like whatever as far as like Arc specifically is concerned, but I think it's also cool that they are reaching out to the modding community for help on this game. I mean, for example, the new Unreal Tournament, that game is actually kind of a collaboration between Epic Games and modders. So they're opening it up to pretty much everybody to develop for it, and they can submit content and stuff like that. And if it's really cool and if the community likes it, they'll add it into the game. So I think that, so this is kind of like a good and a bad story for me. Just kind of like bad in the sense that, come on guys, you can't finish your own game. What the heck is going on? But also good that they are reaching out to these talented modders, because I play a lot of Skyrim. I still play Skyrim to this day. And some of the best content I've ever actually experienced in that game has been mods. Like some of the mods are just, they could qualify technically as just full on DLC. It's voice acted and it's like fully rendered and just animations, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really curious to see if this is going to be like a more of a prominent trend moving forward in PC gaming, especially considering how dev teams appear to be getting smaller and smaller as time goes on, just for the sake of saving, a couple of bucks. Mm-hmm. So really curious to see where this goes.
No, personally, I think this is a great idea because I believe that a lot of the content that the gaming community makes is pretty awesome. And sometimes I'm looking at this and I'm like, how come the developer didn't do this? Mm-hmm, you had a person on their own computer mod this thing, and it's freaking awesome, and people are using it. So I think it's a very good idea. So we'll see where it goes from there.
Who knows? Maybe some people can actually get full-time jobs out of this at some point. That'd be awesome too.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a good way of reaching talent that would never get an opportunity if they like put an application in for the company. Say, here's my body of work. Well, you're nobody. You haven't really put anything. Well, here's my mods.
Yep.
You want them now? Here's my prize.
Right? Exactly.
So, have you played Shadow of Mordor before?
I have not. I've seen a lot of gameplay of it. Game looks really awesome. And I think I bought a copy to give it away once, not to actually play it.
Yeah, Shadow of Mordor is a pretty cool game. It's a third-person action adventure, kind of like I was going to say Zelda because that's just on my brain. But it's a third-person action adventure open world game. You can run around, take over areas, challenge different tribes for control of their clan, get them to work on your side. And they're coming out with a sequel. Shadow of War. So yeah,
the trailer looks awesome.
They had a really cool system in the first one where you can have different factions fighting each other, and you can support one over the other, and you can make the other faction weaker and have their faction take over. Kind of like in the same kind of vein of like Mafia, but more fluid. Like it feels more real, and like you're having an effect on the entire area around there. So I'm surprised no one else has really taken advantage of that, and it's nice to see them come back with something like this.
That sounds like a really cool aspect of the game.
I'm not a big fan of the Lord of the Rings, so when I heard of Shadow of Mordor, and it was kind of a Lord of the Rings spin-off, I was like, oh no, I'm not touching that. But I heard that this one is actually not. They're not gonna put too much of a like Lord of the Rings elements into it.
What's the thing that you don't like about Lord of the Rings? Is it like the political stuff, like the elves versus the hobbits and whatever?
You know what was it that turned me off was that, okay, so I saw Fellowship of the Ring, right? I never read the books, but I saw the movie Fellowship of the Ring, and it had a very simple plot, which I liked, which is like, you know what? This ring, take it to the mountain and burn it over there, right? So that was all of Fellowship of the Ring. But once it got into like the two towers and all that, it's like it split up into all these different types of storylines. And
yeah, if that's what turned you off, this is different because they know it's a video game and you need to actually do stuff. So the fighting mechanics are solid. Yeah, it doesn't have any of that weird story like stuff that prolongs it and like stretches it out.
I'm pretty casual as far as my Lord of the Rings, like, as far as how into it I am. It's kind of interesting because like I'm not super into Lord of the Rings, but I'm into like other like high fantasy type of stuff, like anything with like trolls and elves, all that kind of stuff. You know, like I like Skyrim, I like playing all that kind of stuff. But for some reason, I just never like Lord of the Rings never really grabbed me or anything like that, which is interesting because it was like one of like the first original kind of like high fantasy sort of like stories.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I read the books growing up. I got through like half of the first one. Then I heard the movies. I heard the movies were coming out, and I was like, I'll just watch the movies.
Same here.
Better
Like,
version.
yeah, let's watch those instead.
So, yeah, I'm excited for the sequel. Lo, did you want to talk about that video that you posted in the chat or no?
Oh yeah. So that was an interesting thing. So in Shadow of War, there actually there's a black character in it. And the reason why that is strange is because I guess Tolkien's work isn't really known for having characters that have like darker skin and stuff like that. So
I don't remember ever seeing a black person or anyone that light or darker than white in the movies.
right, yeah, exactly.
The only one was Smeagol. That was it. And he was gray.
That's because he was like old and like decrepit.
But yeah, so I guess a lot of like the really hardcore Tolkien fans, they didn't like this just because it was just so not canon. So there's this one girl who did a video on it, and she was saying, well, if you feel like you can't relate to a person that is of a different skin color than you, then you shouldn't be playing this game, blah, 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 this and that. She was kind of getting up on a soapbox kind of deal. But I mean, I can see her points. And that video that I actually posted was a kind of a response I did with my buddy Aztec. But most of what we were talking about was it's just kind of like you're kind of creating a dragon to slay at this point. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Because
you're making a mountain out of a molehill at this point.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because the reason why people were upset was because it was, like I said, it was not canon. And it had nothing to do, I mean, it could have been really any ethnicity that they could have thrown in there. But at the same time, it's like Thomas was saying, like, this isn't really sticking hard fast to Tolkien's work. So, I mean, there's some freedom for creative license and stuff like that, which I also get. But at the same time, it's just, you know, stop looking for stuff to get offended over. I mean, there's a black dude in the game. Cool. Just go with it. Like, it's not really about that. It's about killing orcs and stuff and going stealth and, you know, turning into a shadow and all that kind of stuff.
The execution kills were awesome in Shadow of Mordor, by the way. Like, that game's good. It's still good. You could probably get it for real cheap nowadays. We also have a rumor going around that Shenmue HD Remaster is coming. This is a rumor. So it's coming from Rice Digital, who has a source from Atlas USA, who is, I guess they have the rights to publish the two games, the first one, the second one. I've only ever played the second one, and all I remember from that game is learning Tai Chi from an old man in a park and asking people to play a game of Lucky Hit.
I played the crap out of the first Shenmue. I played the crap out of it for Sega Dreamcast. I'm a little Sega kid over here in the corner, you guys, so don't mind me. But yeah, so
I'll join you in your corner.
I'm really excited that it's getting an HD remaster just because I feel like at the time that Shenmue came out, it was pretty groundbreaking. Like, as far as all the stuff that they do, they crammed a lot of like stuff into one game. It was like Thomas was saying, you can just do all kinds of like random type of things. You can freaking go and play lottery. You can collect little icons. You can even, at some point you can get, a Sega Saturn in your home in game. So it was literally like there's like a Sega Saturn emulator within the game. So you can play like Space Harrier, Panzer Dragoon, all kinds of stuff. And then you can like, you know, learn more, you can learn like, go to random people and like learn more like fighting moves and stuff. There's just a whole bunch of stuff in the game. So I think it's really great that it's getting a remaster just because it'll allow more people to experience the game for the first time. And also, it'll also have a little bit of a facelift as well. So
yeah, I just want to remind people that it's a rumor to have them, but I would expect it, honestly.
Yeah,
and they would like to hype up Shenmue 3 since that's coming. I don't know when.
Oh, right.
It's probably, my guess would either be this year or next year.
Isn't this the game where they introduced? I know there's a term for it. I just don't remember what it is. But
quick time events. Yeah.
Yes. There you go. So I never actually played this one, but my first experience with QuickTime events was God of War.
Yeah, that's where everyone really experienced it.
So when I saw Shenmue like in a trailer somewhere, like, oh, I gotta play that. It has QuickTime events. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
It's more of an adventure game than an action game, because most of that game is you running around talking to other people and trying to figure out solutions to whatever they need.
Yeah, the overarching story is basically you're trying to find the guy that killed your father, but you're doing all this other stuff in between. And because with me, that's where a lot of my time went, because I would like come across someone's like, oh, no, I need help with this thing. And I'm like, oh, well, I feel like I have to help you now. So I ended up helping them. And then next thing I know, I'm like doing something else. I'm like, oh yeah, right. I'm trying to find my father's murderer.
Yeah, it broke a lot of ground back then, because it had it would advance in days. So you'd have a 24-hour clock, and it was real time, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe a little accelerated.
It was a little accelerated, yeah.
It also had the QuickTime events. It had people on different paths, kind of like what not Ocarina of Time. What's the other one? Majora's Mask.
Yeah, they had their own schedules, yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of groundbreaking in that kind of sense. I want to see what Shenmue 3 does, because if it's... come on, be real with me now. Shenmue 1's not a great game.
It didn't age well, for
no,
sure.
Yeah,
no.
it definitely didn't age well.
I remember the Game Grumps played it once, and I think it was Aaron. He said, "Oh yeah, I remember at the time this game was groundbreaking, but now it just looks like broken ground."
Nice. Yeah, but Shenmue 2 fixed a lot of things. It introduced a journal, so you could keep track of what you need to do, where you need to go. So I'm hoping 3 will be good. I have hopes for that.
Yeah. Seems like a good series. I hope it makes a return.
So Microsoft is coming out with Games Pass, kind of like what PlayStation Now has. But instead of streaming your games, you can just download them instead. You pay, I think it's $10 a month for Americans and $12 for Canadians. I think it's kind of cool. I think this is what we ask for Nintendo a lot, because of their back catalog, is you just want to pay a certain amount a month and play all their games.
So will you be able to, so it seems it's a monthly service. So if you were to cancel your service, would you still have access to your games, or is it I
don't think so. No, it's like a Netflix, right? Where you pay a certain amount a month and you have access to all these things. And if you don't pay, then you can't play them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I also believe that if the game is removed from the library, you also won't be able to play it anymore.
Yeah. Kind of like with the PlayStation Now, except if you have it downloaded, I think you can still play it, but you just can't download it anymore. Yeah, it's only $10 a month. They say they will be adding more. Honestly, the service lives or dies by the games that are on it, kind of like with PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now is $20, but their catalog is at 400 games right now.
I guess it'll just come down to the games. The more games they have up there, the better. So, I mean, this seems like a really great service. I mean, a lot of businesses are going with this model anyways, the subscription based, just because it's more convenient for people. It's like, oh, well, I can't afford that this month, so I'll just turn it off, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think this could be a good thing. Definitely. Again, it comes down to the games. As long as they have some really good games on there that people will actually want to pay, $10, $11, $12 a month for, then yeah, I can see this really working out.
They have written down, they have Halo 5 Guardians, Payday 2, NBA 2K16, and Soul Calibur 2 as games that will be on this service.
Oh, Soul Calibur 2. Excellent.
So I think it'd be cool to dip your toes in every once in a while.
Yeah.
Not something to stay subscribed to, but if you see something on there that you want to check out, you can pay $10 and check out all these different games that are on there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it'd be pretty good, especially since the Xbox 360 did have a lot of titles that people wanted to play. So if they can release maybe more 360 titles, then I think it's definitely worth it.
And the companies they say they'll be part of it are 505 Games, Bandai Namco, Capcom, Codemasters, Deep Silver, Focus Home Interactive, Sega, SNK, THQ Nordic, Warner Brothers, and Microsoft, obviously. So yeah, you can play your Sega games on there.
Yay. My Sega games.
Get some Sonic CD action going. All right, what's the other two I have? I only have Twitch here.
There was the thing on Peter Moore.
Oh shit, where did I put that? Because I was like heartbroken when I heard about Peter Moore leaving. Like, Peter Moore was one of those guys that was like a huge name in the industry. He was there when with Sega with the Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
He was there with Microsoft when they made I think it was the Xbox 360 or the Xbox.
Yeah, he's had a long-standing career in gaming. So it's interesting that he's finally taking his leave. And so, if I'm not mistaken, it sounds like he's trying to move away from gaming. Is that right?
Yeah, he's now the CEO for a Liverpool soccer team.
Huh. That's a real departure, but I mean, it sounds like something he really wants to do. So also, like, it's it's kind of like bittersweet. It's almost like what was his name when Adam Sessler decided to kind of take a step out of the gaming industry. I was like, oh, but at the same time, like, oh, well, good for you. If it's something that you don't want to do anymore.
I think Adam Sessler is still in the gaming industry.
Is he?
I thought he was working on more of the developer side of things. Like
that might be right.
Yeah, he's not in the big picture anymore, but he's still behind the scenes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like an advisor or something right now.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm wondering if like this is something. I'm assuming this is something that he's wanted to do for some time.
Yeah, I think he's like a huge soccer Liverpool fan.
Ah, there you go.
And also he's getting a CEO title, which, I mean, they had to make up like some random title for him at EA for competitive gaming, like CCO. I can't remember what it was.
Ah, yes.
So now that he has a CEO title, he might work there. And then some people are hoping that maybe he'll come back as a CEO somewhere else. Because having a CEO as your title on a resume, it's a pretty good.
Oh, heck yeah.
It's a pretty good thing to have.
I jump ship for that title for sure.
Yeah. So good luck to you, Peter. And,
I hope he still stays somewhat like involved in gaming.
Yeah, because before he came in, he had like no clue. Like he had like no experience with games, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he's dedicated now to gaming.
Yeah, so I'm really interested to see how his career develops after this move.
All right, and the last one to talk about is Twitch is going to have an option for you to buy games off of a Twitch streamer's profile.
Yeah, I think this applies to partner streamers.
Yeah, to partner streamers. I have a couple issues of this. Before I get into my rant, does anyone want to say their piece?
I think it's very interesting. Like, I'm not sure if it's good or bad yet, but I think it's really interesting that they're starting to offer games like this on Twitch. Like, at the same time, I can kind of see the appeal to it because, well, whenever I was watching a Let's Play on YouTube or something like that, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. What games are they playing? Like, or hey, what gameplay footage is that? I want to check that out. So, yeah, so I don't know. I'm really curious to see how this actually plays out because it's as far as gaming goes, it's no secret that, they're trying to monetize wherever and whenever they can. So this just might be a result of that, but it could also be a good thing. It just really, like I said, it really depends on just how it goes after they actually launch this feature.
Yeah, so they're owned by Amazon, so it's no wonder that Amazon will want to put a link on their profile and try to get people to buy stuff from them. Ray?
Well, I see. I want to kind of bounce off of what Lo was saying, and it can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. Good thing being, hey, I'm now going to have the ability to play the same game that I'm watching. That I wanted to
support the person that you like that you're watching.
Exactly, because the person does get a cut out of it. It's just a very small chunk. I was reading up on it as like 5% for right now. That's what they're figuring out, and 25% goes elsewhere. But I see it as, okay, it's monetizing. It's more incentivizing for partners now to get these AAA titles and promote the hell out of them to help sell it even more so that they can get a percentage. But it takes away from the initial goal, mission statement that Twitch wanted. It was just to share and have you like be out there and, you know, talk and communicate with people and share your gaming experiences. With this, it doesn't make it that much. It makes it more commercial. And that's, in my opinion, that's kind of shady.
Mm-hmm.
And it just takes away from the whole community aspect of it as, hey, we're playing as friends and, oh, watch me play this and let's talk about this game and let's just get to know each other. And now it's like, nah, play this game because I'm playing it. Don't worry about watching me. I got other people watching me. You know? And I'm monetized, so it doesn't matter whether you watch it or not because I'm still a partner regardless if you're watching this or not. And it's like it takes away from that. Like I tune into people's streams because they're playing games I would like to see and games I would be interested in buying. Doesn't mean you have to sell it to me. You know, you playing it is kind of selling it to me. Your enjoyment of the game is selling it to me.
Yeah. Rick, you want anything to say?
Yeah. Well, I'm with Ray on this one. I pretty much believe this the good and bad aspects of what he said, and you know, just it's always about money. I think it's always about money. So companies are gonna find a way to make their money. As far as like the bad thing, I mean, yeah. So you have a streamer playing a game. And then I'm assuming Twitch is going to put a little link there, right? So the viewer is going to be like, oh, well, instead of watching, let me just play the game right now. So in a sense, you know, it kind of takes away from the streamer, you know, the people viewing your stream and enjoying your stream. So I can see the good and bad also.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting just because just as PC gaming gets bigger and bigger, obviously, you know, games are being downloaded digitally. So for that reason, so this is the old man in me coming out a little bit. Gaming's not what it used to be. So it used to be more of an art form. It was a way for people to express, you know, like their visions and stuff like that through a medium in which they can share with other people. I mean, gaming still is an art form to this day, but there's also like this huge business aspect to it. And so from a business aspect, I can see how this would benefit the companies. But at the same time, it's also like, what kind of games are they going to be like offering on here? You know, like, are they going to be trying to focus more on AAA games? Like, what about indie games? Will there be like options to like purchase indie games and stuff like that?
Are they going to be able to be downloads, or can you buy them as a box copy?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. There's just a lot of unanswered questions right now. So yeah, from a business aspect, I can see like how this could be appealing, but at the same time, it might also potentially just take away from that kind of classic Twitch experience that we're all familiar with now.
Yeah. In case you guys didn't know, Twitch does have its own like launcher, like game launcher.
I did not know that.
Huh. Yeah. If you sign up for Amazon Prime, sometimes they give away free games, and you have to download the Twitch launcher in order to download the game. So it's kind of like trying to compete with Steam. In a sense, but the way I see this, like, I see it from a different perspective than you guys, I think, in the terms of like marketing and journalism. Because I work with a company, a distributor that kind of does this. We reach out to like YouTubers and other people and try to get them to promote our products. But I've also I used to work as a games journalist. And that's kind of where I'm trying to harken back to with Charge Shot, is the game journalism side. And this kind of thing like conflicts with me. Because, okay, so for those that don't know, some of the really big names out there, when they promote a product or they do something like a review in quotes, they're actually being paid on the back end. Like, so the company's paying them like $5,000 to talk about like a set of headphones or a set of speakers or a new game. And that kind of like kills me inside because I used to work as a reviews editor, and you trying to review this thing, if you're being paid for it, it's not a review. It's a paid post.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like
So it kills me on the ethics side of this, having this new option to buy games, because people that are playing them, I can't tell anymore if they're going, and they have this button, if they're being honest or if they're being disingenuous. I can't tell if they're actually enjoying the game and they're saying, hey man, this is awesome, you should really check this out. Or if they're just lying straight to your face.
Yeah.
Because they're getting a kickback from it.
Yeah, that's one big reason why I stopped watching a lot of the bigger YouTubers. Like, I used to be like really into Markiplier, right? So then after a while, I'm just like, yeah, he doesn't. I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem like as genuine as it used to. I don't know. I don't know whether that's true or not, but yeah, I can definitely.
I don't want to say that for him. It is like because I can't be sure,
Right.
but for a lot of them. For sure, because I know that because I've talked to people that have wanted be paid for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want Charge Shot. I don't want Charge Shot to turn into something like, just like we get paid by developers and stuff, and they come on and talk about their stuff. I want us to be legit, and I want us to be ethical in what we talk about.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah, so now I'm thinking about when we go on Twitch, because I would like to have streams and stuff. If you ever get to that point where we're big enough to do that, I don't think we should have options to be subscribed on Twitch and stuff like this. I don't know.
I can see that. Especially because you, I don't know, because I know Thomas, you definitely, you stream and stuff like that, but I'm not sure if, so just from that first, it's coming from your perspective. You're someone who actually streams and stuff. So also you have the experience of, knowing kind of what goes on behind the scenes. So, and that's one thing I actually really like about being part of this whole Charge Shot podcast is that we're just kind of average people. We're average gamers, and we just get together every week and we talk about what we think about stuff. So that's probably the biggest thing for me, is like talking about games with other people who are of the same kind of level as me, And once you kind of start getting into like paid promotions and paid advertising and stuff like that, then it really just puts a bad taste in the mouth of the audience, because there's several websites I used to go to, like smaller websites that I used to go to for like gaming news and reviews and interviews and stuff. But then I stopped because every time I logged on, there were just more and more and more ads, just advertisements and stuff like that. So it's just like, at what point does it like go from just, keeping the lights on, keeping the operation going, to cash grab? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird, because having a review up of a game and then having an ad for that game alongside it is kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
It's just, it's hard to tell nowadays. Like, I just wish it was more clear in what's a paid promotion, because I have no problem with paid promotion or paid posts as long as it's clearly labeled.
Like disclosed, yeah.
Like saying that, like, hey, this is a paid stream. Like, I was paid to play this game. So, like, just have it in your title or something. But it's so hard to figure out. And for gaming to get into this point, because I feel like we're going to come to a wall eventually where people are going to see through that.
Yeah.
And people won't trust other people that play things. Like, it's going to get really weird and murky in the future. And those that stick by their guns and like show what's paid and what's not are going to stand out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I have no problem with people have to eat. People have to pay for rent and their bills. I just wish it was clear. That's all.
That would be nice. Some transparency would be great.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I want to write up like an ethics thing for our website so people can read it and see what we're all about.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
That would be cool.
I need to write that up. All right. Guys, any final closing thoughts?
I hope everybody who's playing Breath of the Wild out there is having fun.
I want to, like, okay. I didn't know if I was going to get into this or not, but there's been like so much stuff going on. Rick told me before, like, we started that he wanted to talk about the whole console thing. And I've seen arguments online of people going, no, Breath of the Wild sucks, get Horizon and stuff like that. I'm like, just shut up.
Come on.
Do we have to end the podcast like every week now just saying shut up and enjoy your games?
Yes, I think we do, because a lot of people out there just won't shut up and enjoy their games. I mean, for example, like me, I have a few videos on my YouTube channel where I'm responding to people trying to say, oh, don't bother with PC gaming. Console gaming is the only form of gaming you need. And I'm like, no, come on. Like, if you are really like into video games and if you love games, you will go where the games are that you want to play. It's not like this game's better than that game or this console's better than that one. They're all in the same atmosphere. It's all games. There's going to be games that you like. There's going to be games that other people don't like. There's going to be games that you don't like, so on and so forth. So it's just like, it's kind of a live and let live sort of thing that I feel like it's not being really practiced, really. I mean, it kind of is, but at the same time, it's not. There's also like the vocal idiots on the internet that are like, no, PlayStation only, or no, Xbox only, or no, PC only. It's like, no, enjoy everything, you guys. Enjoy it all. Come on.
Like, yeah, I mean, one of the issues I have is that, I mean, I think it's okay if you don't like a game, but when you start saying things like, oh no, I'm not playing that game because, it doesn't have a powerful GPU. I'm like, oh, come on. The other thing is that I do tend to have disrespect for certain developers. I only have two in particular. I don't remember their names. But I remember seeing this one video where a developer, there was a guy, in the audience, and he asked this developer, so what do you think about Japanese games? And he was like, you guys suck. You guys need to
I remember that. That was a while ago.
Who was that? Who was it that said that? Oh,
I don't remember that. I know it was posted on YouTube all over the place, but I just don't remember his name. But so I have disrespect for that guy, right? And then the developer of Titanfall 2, when they asked him, hey, is this gonna make it on the Switch? And he was like, oh, F no. So I'm like, come on.
What?
What a great response.
There's a sense of disrespect also on a developer from me through a developer's point of view. So
yeah. That's unfortunate. I don't like seeing stuff like that. But
all right, Rick, where can we find you on the internet? Let us know.
Okay, so so you can find me on Twitter at GHero18. And then you can find me on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook at GHeroes Game Room.
Lo, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube, Nero the Hero. I actually changed my channel name on YouTube, so it's spelled with letters now, so I'm easier to find. I've been getting a couple of people was like, yo, your screen name is like, it's a pain in the ass to type out. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll change it then. So Nero the Hero with letters on YouTube. That's how you can find me.
And Ray.
I am on Fishing for Cookie on YouTube. I am on Twitter and Etsy as Fishing for Pixels, Instagram at Fishing for Pixels, and with Twitter, it's with a number 4, not the word 4. And that's about it.
Getting on that social media.
Oh, yeah.
You can find me, Thomas, your host, on Twitter as CSG Thomas. You can email me at thomas@charshot.com with your questions, your complaints, telling us that we shouldn't embrace every game. You can tell us we're wrong. You can tell us we're right. Just tell us something. And you can also visit chargeshot.com. I'm working on a review for Odyssey right now, and me and Lo need to do a quick look for that game. Until then, guys, enjoy your games.